I'd lived locally for 7 years before I realised it. And whenever I talk to people and I kind of describe it, they can't believe what's on their doorstep. I think it is a bit of an unknown gem. I've seen people on recumbents, I've seen people on trikes, seen people on mobility scooters.
They can be used by people walking, running, cycling, people in wheelchairs, horse riders.
If you move to Meon Vale, which a lot of people are going to do, they are going to have access to the Greenway, and the Greenway will provide you with a very safe, no traffic path which is level. You can cycle it, you can walk it. It's a great opportunity on your doorstep.
I know they're working on one from Shipston into Stratford, which would be fantastic.
It's massively important. It's going to get people off-road, so that's going to help with climate change. It's going to help with people's fitness levels. It's connecting communities. It's raising the economic benefits of local places. It's just a good way of getting about.
So hopefully in the future there will be a network of greenways that give people a real opportunity to essentially go out and walk or run or cycle and not have to actually go anywhere near a road if they don't want to.
If you'd said 18 months ago, can you cycle into work, I would have fallen off a chair laughing. But 12 months ago I was unwell and I've not been able to drive and I couldn't do anything on my own, I couldn't get to work and I absolutely hated it. So I sort of looked into, well, can I cycle into work? It took a bit of thinking, but actually it was really feasible. For me, the e-bike was probably the biggest thing. I think technology has made a real difference. So I've got live tracking on my phone, so my husband knows when I set off, he can keep an eye on me while I'm cycling. And I just thought it wasn't possible, and it certainly wouldn't have been possible in my head to enjoy it. It's something I'm thriving on instead.
So yes, the Lias Line's kind of a real template for success. It's something that can be used by people recreationally, but it's also something that can be used by local people to get from A to B in a way that makes them healthier and happier.
They've done lots of work to encourage butterflies along here. I was cycling along, there was a load of windfall pears, and kind of as I cycled through it, it's just this cloud of butterflies came up around me. It was a habitat that was having an impact on the ability of these animals to kind of make it their own. And I really love it. And it gives me such a break between home and work. And work can be really full on, it's really stressful. And if I'd kind of driven in and I'd been stuck in traffic, can I find a parking space? You're starting the day stressed when it's like that.
What we're trying to do as an action group is to try and create this really wide-ranging greenway linking Evesham to Ulster and then eventually out to Stratford.
Which is certainly the largest, I would have thought, in the Midlands, and that includes the ones in the north of the county.
My background is science teaching. This fits in with my own thoughts of climate change and improving health. I like the idea of leaving the place a better place than it was before, something for future generations to use. Graham is a great guy. I've worked quite closely with Graham on the business plan, and it's been nice to sit down with him and just chat data. Joe is more of a political animal. He understands how to talk to politicians. His background has been in health education and he's worked with councils before.
The most important thing and the biggest challenge for us is not to get 500,000 or 1 million locally, it's to get 10 or 15 million. And that requires us to convince our counties and our government departments that rural amenities are just as important as urban amenities. And at the moment, they are not. There's no doubt that an awful lot of money gets spent in the southeast, and particularly around the capital. And I understand that. A lot of people live there, not always in easy circumstances. But when you come to rural counties, there isn't the sufficient recognition of the levels of poverty, the levels of isolation, and the lack of amenities. We need to get government to reconcile their urban spend with an intelligent balance in our rural counties. If we can do that, we'll get it built. If we can't, I suspect we won't.